Hi, I'm Madeline Park, Senior in Electrical Engineering at Wayne State University, and I'm here to give a brief overview of our report on electric vehicle infrastructure in the city of Detroit. On March 31st, President Biden announced his $2 trillion plan for electric vehicles in the United States, and I'm sure you've heard of it or something similar. But are you wondering, how is there such a push for electric vehicles in our society, yet they still remain a niche product, meaning most people don't have them? To us, it comes down to an important yet often overlooked factor: infrastructure. How will electric vehicles actually be implemented into our society? How will citizens use them? Will it be easy for them? Will it be difficult? All of these things are important factors to consider when pushing electric vehicle use throughout a society. From nationwide polls and user analysis, and a team-sanctioned survey sent out to users in and around Detroit, our team aims to figure out how much electric vehicle infrastructure exists right now in the city, how much more we're going to need in order for people to effectively and efficiently use electric vehicles, and how the city can implement that, including where and how expensive it's going to be. Now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Malad, to give a more thorough introduction of our project report.
Hello, my name is Milad Mashallah. As there is a growing need for electrical vehicles, there's also a growing need for infrastructure to accommodate, such as charging bays. Much like a traditional vehicle, we'll rely on gas stations for fuel. The goal of this report, is to give insight into whether there is or is not a need for electrical vehicle infrastructure in Detroit and wherein that infrastructure should be placed. Also, our goal is to give insight into why our group is the group to handle this, why we are prepared and more than capable in tackling this project. We have put out a survey in which we ask the public what their beliefs are, what their viewpoints are on electrical vehicles, whether they're favorable in purchasing one in the future, whether they believe there is adequate infrastructure in place in the Detroit area to accommodate for electrical vehicles, and where they would like to see more. We'll be discussing our findings. We'll also be creating a timeline in which we will have specific dates set for goals to reach. We'll also be discussing duties in which each member is expected to reach their goal, complete their task, and make sure this project is ahead of schedule.
Thank you, Malad, for presenting that part. My name is Max Bolson, and I'm the project manager in this group. Back when we were giving out ideas on what projects to do in the discussion board, I thought of the idea to assess the need of electric vehicle infrastructure in Detroit and proposed the idea to encourage the mayor of Detroit and city council and Wayne State University to implement more infrastructure in Detroit. A group was then assembled by student preferences, which led to this amazing group that I am glad to be a part of. And I will be discussing today our progress we have already made and what we still need to do in order to complete this report. I will also be discussing the results that we have seen in the work we already did. Next slide. So far, I would say that we have made sufficient progress on our report. We have worked very well as a group together and have communicated constantly on what we need to do and how we can complete this project. We have split the workload very evenly, I would say, and have made it so people in the group are comfortable with what they're doing. And we have listened to the feedback that was provided by the professor and by the students and have applied that to our work, both past and future. We made a Google Form survey to electronically distribute to people in order to gain a better understanding of how other people feel about this issue. And this is really the focal point of our primary research and will be very important in the makings of our report. And the Google Form survey made it very easy to assemble the survey and distribute it so that we can collect the proper data. And the data we have collected from the surveys will be of great use to us. Through the logical use of questions we decided to use in the survey, we will be able to tell exactly how people feel about electric vehicles and about electric vehicle infrastructure. And we were not biased at all in who we distributed these surveys to. And this data will also be able to be translated into graphs and charts to include in our final report to help our audience gain a better understanding of this need for electric vehicle infrastructure. So there's still a lot more work to be done. We need to finish the second part of our primary research, which involves gathering data from the city of Detroit. We need to complete our secondary research, which involves reading various articles from experts online about this issue. And then we have to compile all the data we found and make it into our final report. What will the secondary research more specifically entail? There are so many articles on the internet published by experts that are very well written and contain a lot of useful information. As mentioned in the needs assessment our group made earlier in the semester, we will be using Slowick's article, The Surge of Electric Vehicles in United States Cities, and we will be using Lawrence's article, Michigan isn't among the most friendly states for electric vehicles, or even close. Our research will not be limited to these two articles, but will without a doubt include more. And the data is already collected by people online will be of great use to us to gain perspective on a more broad scale, and not restricted to or limited to the city of Detroit, but in the United States and other countries. This data will act as a comparison and will show the discrepancies in certain categories between Michigan and other states or even other countries. So that concludes my portion of the presentation. We will now transition over into Jason Ruan speaking about the teamwork aspect. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jason, and I'm the team contract manager for this team, and I'm in charge of creating the team contract for our team. So our team had created a timeline that breaks down the different tasks we had to do in order to complete each week assessment. The timeline gave us enough time to prepare our work and gave us extra time to correct any mistake that might occur. The timeline also provides a due date for each assignment is due, as this ensures we're on schedule to complete our research project. So far, our team had completed the informal group report, the need assessment memo, and the team contract. Currently, our team is working on researching and collecting data for our final group report. And the final group report presentation will start on April 5th, and our group is expecting to complete that by April 20th. And our group is expected to complete the formal written report before April 25th. So, team member duty. Our team project manager Max will be conducting the primary research as well as performing the final check for the project. Madeline will also assist Max with the primary research as well as video editing. And me and Amadou will also assist each other out with the secondary research. And lastly, Mala will be collecting data and conducting interview for the group project. And next up, Amadou will be talking about the conclusion and give any recommendation for our project.
So I'm going to go over a brief summary of the problem, proposal, and what we are doing next. So the problem that our team is trying to address is the lack of electrical vehicle infrastructure in the city of Detroit and how to make the city and the resident aware of that. The main reason why they are not aware is nobody talks about it really. They are exposed to a lot of advertisement about electrical vehicle, but not about the infrastructure. So we want to change that. So our proposal is to identify the electrical vehicle infrastructure that the city have already, which is not many. Then find out how many the city need to cover the demand in the future. Identify future site for electrical vehicle infrastructure. Then we are going to determine the cost of it. What we will do next is to present our project to the city and the resident to try to get them on board and excited about our project. In addition, funding is always a major issue. Is it possible that we could get a government or even a corporate funding? We are not sure. We may need to investigate that. Our goal is to make this project a reference for the city when it comes to building electrical vehicle infrastructure. Also provide to our residents some of the best electrical vehicle infrastructure in the world.
At this time, we're going to open the floor for any questions, comments, or concerns. We're sure you have some because electric vehicles and infrastructure is a new hot topic these days. We'd like to thank you for coming to and watching our presentation, and I'm going to present our citations.